On my 24th birthday, I opened Instagram and saw that my family had taken my sister to Hawaii. My mother called her my biggest pride. I quietly went to the bank, closed the $3,500,000 family fund that had all our names on it, and started my new life. I was sitting in the small living room of my apartment with a birthday coffee in my hand, staring at the picture on my phone screen. My sister Chloe was standing on a beach in Hawaii holding a coconut drink with my mother, father, and my brother Ryan smiling behind her. I read the caption. Best birthday surprise for our favorite daughter. Favorite daughter. Those 2 words were enough. I didn't send a message. I didn't ask questions. I didn't start a fight. I simply grabbed my jacket, took my car keys, and drove to the bank. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 24 years old. I work as a financial analyst. I'm quiet and I've never been the type of person who talks just to fill silence. My family always said I was too serious. The truth was, I learned early that speaking less usually meant getting hurt less. My brother Ryan was 31 years old. He was the golden boy of the family. According to Mom, he had always been special. He played football, got a college scholarship, and every family dinner somehow turned into a conversation about his achievements. My sister Chloe was 27. She was Mom's favorite. She was beautiful, social, and always comfortable in front of a camera. Things seemed to come easily for her. And then there was me. I was the daughter everyone described as responsible. Emily, you're mature. You'll understand. And I always did. My dad, Michael Carter, was a successful businessman. Years earlier, he created a family investment fund. Everyone was told that the money was for the future of all 3 children. $3.5 million. Dad always said the same thing. This is for all my children. Equal shares. I believed him. When I arrived at the bank, my advisor, Mr. Harris, looked surprised to see me. Emily, is everything okay? I sat down and said, I need to review the Carter Family Trust. He opened the system and looked at me. Is there a problem? I answered, I think I'm about to find out. He checked the documents. Then his expression changed. Emily, are you sure you want to do this today? I looked directly at him. What happened? He stayed quiet for a few seconds. Your family requested a large withdrawal last week. For what? He replied, a vacation expense and a private celebration. I pulled out my phone and looked at the Hawaii picture again. Then I put it away. Can I stop future withdrawals? He asked, are you certain? Yes. That day I realized the Hawaii trip was not the real problem. The real problem was that I had always been the last person my family thought deserved to know the truth. But this was not the first time. The pattern had existed my entire life. When Ryan got a new bike, I asked if I could get one too. Mom said, Ryan needs it more. He's always outside. When Chloe got expensive dance classes, I asked about art lessons. Dad said, maybe later, Emily. We have priorities. Those priorities were always someone else. In high school, Dad paid for Ryan's car. I took student loans for college. One time I asked Mom, do you notice that you treat us differently? She laughed. Emily, don't be dramatic. You're just independent. Independent. That was the word people used for those who didn't receive help. After college, I worked hard. Morning office hours, night courses, extra projects on weekends. When I got my first major promotion, I thought maybe Dad would finally be proud. I called him. Dad, I got promoted. He replied, that's good. That was it. Then he started talking about Ryan. Ryan is thinking about starting another business. We need to support him. I asked, another business? Didn't his last one fail? Dad immediately said, don't be negative. I wasn't being negative. I was seeing reality. My 24th birthday had always felt important to me. I thought maybe this year would be different. Maybe Mom would call. Maybe Dad would ask how I was doing. The only text I received that morning was, happy birthday. Hope you have a nice day. That was all. 2 hours later, the Hawaii pictures appeared on Instagram. I walked out of the bank, started my car, and drove home. I didn't call anyone. I didn't ask anyone for permission. That night, Ryan messaged me. Hey, don't be upset. Mom wanted to surprise Chloe. I replied, surprise. He immediately came online. Emily, don't start. I typed, start what? Asking why a family fund meant for all of us paid for a trip I wasn't even invited to. A few moments later he replied, you're making this about money. I looked at the screen. Then I wrote, "No. I'm making this about respect." He didn't answer. The next day Mom called. I picked up. "Emily, your brother said you're upset." I said, "I'm not upset about Hawaii." "Then what?" "About being treated like I don't belong." She went quiet. Then she said, "You always make yourself the victim." For the first time I answered without anger. "No, Mom. I just stopped pretending." She got upset and ended the call. 3 days later Dad called. "Emily, we need to talk." I said, "About the fund?" Silence. Then he said, "Your mother told you." I replied, "No. The bank did." His voice changed. "Listen, the withdrawal was temporary." "Temporary for who?" "Emily, you have a stable career. Ryan and Chloe need more support." I asked, "Why?" Dad said, "Because they have bigger responsibilities." I gave a small laugh. "You mean they have bigger expectations?" He became angry. "Don't be disrespectful." I answered, "I learned from watching everyone else." That night I reviewed the bank documents again. And there was one name, Ryan. But the problem wasn't just that Ryan had taken money. The problem was that Dad never told me Ryan's business losses had been covered by that same fund for almost 2 years. The Hawaii trip was only the final thing. I called Mr. Harris. "How long has this been happening?" He answered, "Almost 2 years." I closed my eyes. 2 years. 2 years and everyone knew. Except me. The next morning I went to the bank and started a legal review. Because I had rights connected to the fund, I could activate restrictions on future withdrawals. I handled every step carefully. I didn't create drama. I didn't make a Facebook post. I simply signed the documents. 1 week later, a message appeared in the family group chat. "Dad, Emily, we need access to the account." I replied, "No." Ryan immediately responded, "You're kidding, right?" "No." Mom wrote, "Why are you doing this to your family?" I answered, "I'm not doing anything to my family. I'm stopping you from using me." A few minutes later Ryan called. I answered. "Are you serious?" he asked. "Very." "You're destroying everything." "No. I'm protecting what was supposed to be equal." He raised his voice. "You always wanted attention." I replied, "No, Ryan. I wanted fairness." Then he said something that changed everything. "Dad never wanted you involved anyway." I went quiet. "Explain." He hesitated. Then he said, "You were never supposed to know everything." That was when I understood the truth. This was not just favoritism. They had intentionally kept me outside. Dad created the family fund with my name, Ryan's name, and Chloe's name, but in reality, it was being used to protect Ryan. The next day I asked Dad to meet me. He came to a restaurant. The first thing he said was, "You embarrassed your family." I answered, "No. I exposed the truth." He leaned forward. "You think you're better than us now?" "No. I just stopped letting you treat me like I was less." He shook his head. "Family doesn't do this." I looked at him. Family also doesn't hide millions of dollars from one child. He had nothing to say. Over the next few weeks everything changed. Ryan had to handle his failed business on his own. Chloe had to reduce the luxury lifestyle she had become used to. Mom called several times. For the first time she said, "Maybe we made mistakes." I asked, "Maybe?" She stayed silent. I focused on my own life. I moved out of my apartment and bought my own condo. I started investing. I traveled for myself. For the first time I celebrated my success because I was proud of myself, not because I wanted anyone else's approval. Then came the second surprise. One evening Dad called me. I assumed it was about money again. But he said, "Emily, I need to tell you something." I stayed quiet. He continued, "Your mother knew about the withdrawals." I replied, "I already knew." He said, "No. You don't understand." "What?" Dad took a breath. "The Hawaii trip wasn't Ryan's idea." I went silent. "Then whose was it?" He answered, "Your mother planned it because she wanted to celebrate Chloe's engagement." I frowned. "Chloe's engagement?" "Yes. She's engaged." Dad paused. "She was, he said. "The fiancé found out about the money situation. He left." I stayed quiet for a few seconds. I wasn't happy. I wasn't celebrating. I just felt a strange sense of peace knowing people eventually face the consequences of their choices. A few days later, Mom came to see me. She stood outside my condo. "I miss you," she said. I opened the door, but I didn't invite her inside. I asked, "Do you miss me or do you miss what I provided?" Her eyes filled with tears. "That's not fair," I answered. "Neither was what you did." She had no response. I didn't slam the door. I simply said, "I hope someday you understand." Then I slowly closed it. People still ask me if I regret standing up against my family. My answer is always the same. I didn't take revenge. I just took my place back. On my 24th birthday they forgot about me. But that same day I remembered myself. If you think Emily made the right decision, like this video, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And tell me in the comments, if you discovered your own family had been secretly using your share of a $3.5 million fund, what would you do?